High-profile terrorists have been gunned down by the Indian Army. I'm going to take you through details. They could be very well linked to the Pahalgam terror strike. And on the top story on day tonight, Mamata Banerjee in West Bengal launches the Mamata Bhasha Andolan, basically carrying out a massive march where she condemns attacks on Bengalis and says she will preserve Bengal and Bengalis at all cost. And finally, on our top story list, Kerala nuns who've been arrested in Chhattisgarh. The claims are that they were trying to convert, but Kerala now up in arms saying this is deliberate targeting of the minorities. As always, we're taking you through all the news, the headlines first. S. Jaishankar addressing the lower house today revealed how US has warned India of imminent Pakistani attack. He's emphasized that terror and talks can't go together. The Ministry of External Affairs tells the Parliament of diplomatic blitz post Pahalgam attack and that UN Quad backed India's stance on cross-border terrorism. Pahalgam Mastermind Hashim Musa has been killed in Srinagar. Army has eliminated 3 Lashkar terrorists in Dachigam. Chinese radios, US M4 rifles seized in Operation Mahadev. Supreme Court tells the Election Commission to accept Aadhaar, electors' photo ID for Bihar voter revision. The Supreme Court says focus should be on inclusion and not exclusion. Voter draft rolls, the draft roll itself to be published by August 1st. Actor Ramya faces fresh trolling by Darshan. Fans, in fact, trolling her repeatedly on social platforms because she spoke up against Darshan and said that he should be punished if he's guilty. Now, she files a formal complaint with the Bengaluru police saying this is inhuman, the kind of trolling that she's received. If she can get it, imagine anyone, any other woman could be trolled in a similar fashion. Karnataka government mulls diverting 11,896 crores from SC/ST welfare to guarantees, sparks backlash ahead of council meet. Outcry grows over proposal to use SC/SP TSP funds for Gruha Lakshmi Shakti Yuva Nidhi schemes. Kerala nuns arrested, and that has sparked uproar. Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan has slammed this arrest, saying this is harassment against minorities. In fact, a Bajrang Dal outfit in Chhattisgarh filed a complaint saying that these nuns were trying to convert women and human trafficking angle was given. The police arrested them. Rahul Gandhi now stepping in, saying this is absolute targeting of religious freedom and of minorities. Mamata launches Bhasha Andolan language movement in Bolpur, slamming the BJP and Election Commission over voter list purge. Bengal Chief Minister cites the 1952 Dhaka legacy, saying this is another movement that will echo across the country. Remember, this comes right ahead of elections. Trump says very disappointed in Putin. Shortens 50-day deadline given to Russia over its war in Ukraine. Warns of 100% tariffs if no deal is brokered. Divya Deshmukh beats Humpy in tiebreaker to win the FIDE Women's World Cup. The first Indian woman to win the FIDE championship. 19-year-old Divya clinches the title in all Indian finals, secures Grandmaster tag, and in fact she's seen there breaking down, hugging her mother soon after the match. Now, it's the moment that India has been really waiting for, justice for Pahalgam. That wait seems to have been finally come to an end. 3 terrorists have been gunned down in Srinagar's Lidwas area during Operation Mahadev, a joint strike that was taken out by the Indian Army and the Jammu and Kashmir police. These men are suspected to be linked to the April 22nd Pahalgam terror attack, where 26 innocent tourists were killed in cold blood. The encounter took place in the dense forests of Dachigam terrain, which is quite tricky. In fact, it took 14 days of high surveillance of local intelligence, and satellite intercepts to close in on them. At 11:30 a.m., teams from 24 Rashtriya Rifles and 4 Para moved in. Terrorists opened, in fact, the army there opened fire at those terrorists. It was crossfire that went on for a little while, but within hours, all 3 of them were neutralised. Among the dead, possibly, is Musa Fauji, alias Sulaiman Shah, a Pakistani Special Forces deserter turned Lashkar commander. That's the image that became the poster image of the Pahalgam attacks. He's believed to have orchestrated this Pahalgam attack and was said to be in hiding for months. And finally, we hear this man has been gunned down. From the site, troops recovered a US-made carbine, AK-47, 17 rifle grenades and a jungle hideout stocked with food, cooking gear, proof that the terrorists there were camped for the long haul. They had everything that was ready and there, wanted to stick around for God knows how long. Either they couldn't get out of the border areas or they thought they probably were plotting another bigger attack. The army has now called them hardcore terrorists and has called this Operation Mahadev a mighty successful one. Now, if confirmed, this is a massive blow indeed to TRF, ISI terror networks, and possibly the man who led the April bloodbath, the Musa himself, being gunned down, almost cripples the TRF at this point. So, big praise to the Indian Armed Forces for catching up with these terrorists. We are hoping these are indeed those terrorists who were behind the Pahalgam attacks. At least the man that you see on our screens there, we're blurring out the blood in the gory image, but that seems to be this very man, Musa, who was the mastermind behind Pahalgam. Let me quickly cut across to our guest who's joining us, in fact, a little more in detail to give us a little idea as to how big and successful this mission has been for us. Thanks very much, SP Vaid, former DGP, Jammu and Kashmir. We also have Major General retired V.K. Datta joining us for a little more, Savio Rodriguez, senior journalist and founder, editor-in-chief, Goa Chronicle. Of course, we also have Advocate Nikhil Jain, political analyst. Thank you very much. Mr. Datta, if I could start with you first. As in your view, we are looking at this jungle operation that was pulled off by the armed forces right on the day when the Indian Parliament was discussing Operation Sindoor. Here was a new operation that was spun out, Operation Mahadev, that seemed to have attacked right the same people that were likely behind Pahalgam. We're yet to get confirmation on this, whether the Pahalgam attackers indeed were the ones who were gunned down. What's the information you have?
Yeah, Nabila, for all the viewers and the nation, everybody was asking a question as to where are those 4 terrorists who were involved in killing of innocent tourists in Pahalgam. And to assure the nation, the special forces never rest, never forget. And since the day this dastardly attack was carried out in Pahalgam, our security forces were constantly hunting for these perpetrators of the Pahalgam dastardly attack. So the people who belong to the forces, whether it is the J&K police, the SOG, the CRPF, the armed forces, the Rashtriya Rifles, ask those people. They'll tell you the amount of effort they put in to get after these guys, hunt them down, and carry out raid after raid continuously since the 22nd of April until today, final culmination and gunning down of these people in Dachigam. And this I should put to rest the questions being asked by the opposition parties. Where are those chaps? Why have they not been gunned down? As the government mentioned, Operation Sindoor is continuing. As far as we are concerned, it has just been paused as far as Pakistan is concerned. But we will strike as and when we get an input on any likely attack being planned by the Pakistanis, whether by proxies or by anybody else. So they should now realize that India is noting down every location, every gathering of any Lashkar-e-Toiba, Hizbul Mujahideen, whether in Pakistan or in POK. And it's just a question of one button away. They've seen our precision strikes, they've seen our capability, and I'm again warning them, don't try anything. You will be hit hard and you will be hit accurately wherever you are. So I hope that whosoever is left out now, whether the overground workers in J&K they're all being traced and hunted down. And I'm very sure that the J&K government, the J&K police,
yeah,
and the
in fact, we
security
have Sir Ved. Mr. Ved is with us. He has extensive knowledge on the rough terrains across Jammu and Kashmir and the way and manner in which these terrorists are able to hide. Our armed forces, Mr. Ved, are very well equipped, knowing the terrain exactly well. Why did it take so many months? Musa Fauji, we hear, has been gunned down. We're yet to get an official confirmation. I'm not too sure if you have a little more information you could share with us. But why was it so hard to track these men despite years of being placed in the valley?
Good evening, Naveda. Good evening, my co-panelists and your viewers. This was the day everyone was waiting in the country, and the terrain. Just look at the photographs. Dachigam is a thick forest area. It's very near to Srinagar, but overlooking this mountain Mahadev. On that mountain, the operation has been named Mahadev. Look at the terrain as on your screen. Huge height, and these people were specially trained for mountain warfare and jungle warfare by Pakistan. One of them, Musa, was a special commando of the Special Forces of the Pakistan. See, they had been instructed not to get into contact with any civilian. It was so hard to track them down, and as far as technical inputs are concerned, it was again a very difficult job because they were absolutely completely avoiding use of mobile phones, where we generally track them down. They were making use of satellite communication of the Chinese, some kind of that communication, which is very, very hard to track. So I think a lot of hard work went into this, generating precise information, pinpointed information. That was what actually was required for such a successful and an operation where you have absolutely no casualty on your side. And look at the way, I think the credit goes to the people who generated this precise information, the intelligence, and then observed it for many days. Look at the place they have this hideout. They could see movement of the security forces from all sides. The way the operation has been planned and executed. The credit goes to the commanders of the Indian Army and J&K police and the CAPF who were involved. I must compliment. I think the nation was waiting for this moment, and I don't think there would have been a more appropriate moment than today, when discussion on Operation Sindoor and Pahalgam was taking place in the parliament. What an appropriate timing. A lot of hard work. It might have taken 2-3 months, almost 3 months plus, but finally what is important is we were able to eliminate them, and I think credit goes to the people who were following.
What our armed forces found, sir, weapons, Chinese sat phones. They had enough food to keep them going for months. They had bullets, they had guns, they were well funded, at least seemingly, from what we see in those images. And that leaves and raises a lot of questions. Where's the money coming from?
See, one of the recovery was the M4 rifle, the American rifle, which they left in Afghanistan, which we were suspecting Musa was using. And the other 2 weapons were AK-47 and 17 grenades. Look at the as you said, they were prepared for a long haul. This Mahadev mountain and this this forest area is very close to Srinagar, and another aspect could be they were probably the Amarnath Yatra, the Baltal route. The Yatra also crosses Srinagar, and could be this group was looking for another attack on the Amarnath Yatra, because it's not very far off. Dachigam is not very far off from the route of Baltal. So I think these people were both hiding and looking for another opportunity for another big attack on Amarnath Yatra. But luckily, before they could do any damage, they have been eliminated. And I think what Pakistan and everyone was asking, where is the link? Where is Pakistan's linkage with Pahalgam? I think all these three Pakistanis, this link, it gets established. Even our opposition, I'm sorry, our former Home Minister, Mr. P. Chidambaram, I was disgusted with his statement yesterday. He said, how are you linking Pakistan with Pahalgam? Here is the answer. And a person who had held Home Minister's post should not be speaking like this. He knew very well how Pakistan is behind Pahalgam. And I think this is the answer. The security forces have proved it today.
Well, this has certainly taken a political turn. In fact, I am going to cut across to what happened in the parliament today. Let me, Mr. Jain, do stay with us. I will bring you in on our parliament debate, a fierce one that panned out. And let's shift our focus right there from Kashmir to the capital, the parliament, that witnessed a high voltage debate today on Operation Sindoor, India's swift military response to Pahalgam terror attack that killed 26 civilians. Finally, the much awaited, much talked about and much requested parliament debate happened today. If I could take you through all the visuals that came in right from the start of the parliament. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today addressed the Lok Sabha, revealing that the Indian Armed Forces struck 9 terror launch pads across Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Over 100 terrorists, handlers and facilitators were targeted in the precision strikes, and that discussion finally happened with the government answering and more inside the parliament to multiple questions raised by the opposition on Pahalgam terror strikes and Operation Sindoor. Let's listen in first of all, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh.
Operation Sindoor का ओवरऑल पॉलिटिको मिलिट्री ऑब्जेक्टिव यह था कि आतंकवाद के रूप में प्रॉक्सी वार लड़ रहे पाकिस्तान को सजा दी जाए, और इसी वजह से आर्म फोर्सेस को पूरी आजादी दी गई थी कि वे अपने टारगेट खुद चुने और करारा जवाब दें। और इस ऑपरेशन का उद्देश्य कोई भी युद्ध छेड़ना नहीं था, बल्कि फोर्स के डिमॉन्स्ट्रेटिव यूज से एडवर्सरी को झुकने के लिए मजबूर करना था। कभी कभी हमारे प्रतिपक्ष के लोग ये पूछते रहे हैं कि हमारे कितने विमान गिरे। मुझे लगता है उनका यह प्रश्न हमारी राष्ट्रीय जनभावनाओं का सही से प्रतिनिधित्व नहीं कर रहा है। मुझे लगता है उन्होंने एक बार भी हमसे यह नहीं पूछा कि हमारी सेनाओं ने दुश्मन के कितने विमान मार गिराए। यदि उन्हें प्रश्न पूछना ही है अध्यक्ष महोदय, तो उनका प्रश्न यह होना चाहिए, क्या भारत ने आतंकवादी ठिकानों को तबाह किया? तो उसका उत्तर है हाँ।
And then you had, of course, Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar himself, who gave a detailed timeline of the diplomatic and military actions that India took all the way from May 7th to May 10th as part of Operation Sindoor. Let's listen in.
Today, when I hear many questions from across the aisle, I want to say, which one of you imagined that Bhavalpur and Muridke would be brought down the way it was? Which one of you thought of it? When did you even think of it during your tenure? Did it even cross your mind? In fact, on the contrary, you ruled it out after 26/11. So, I think our objectives were very clear. We wanted to send a message to the terrorists. We wanted to send a message to Pakistan that do not continue this support for terrorism. And I think on the morning of 7th of May, that message went home loud and clear. Our task from a diplomatic perspective, from a foreign policy approach, was to shape the global understanding of the Pahalgam attack. What we tried to do was to bring out to the international community Pakistan's long-standing use of cross-border terrorism. We highlighted the history of terrorism in Pakistan, and how this particular attack was meant to target the economy of Jammu and Kashmir and to sow communal discord among the people of India.
All right, now, even as the government detailed Operation Sindoor in the parliament, the opposition had remained unsatisfied right from the start. They, in fact, demanded a full debate, asking tough questions. One of them was, why wasn't Pahalgam protected in the first place? If it was a vulnerable site, tourist site, yes, but it was vulnerable. There have been terror attacks in the past. Then why was there no protection? Why were there no security arranged right around that area at a time when there was high tourist traffic? Congress's Gaurav Gogoi questioned how Pakistani terrorists managed to so easily slip in through that area, carry out such a brutal terror attack and walk out. Was it an intelligence lapse? Did our forces miss key signs? Questions asked.
आज मैं ये जानना चाहता हूं कि पिछले 20 वर्ष में सबसे घातक आक्रमण हमारे महिलाओं पर हुआ, हमारे बच्चों पर हुआ, भारत के आत्मा पर हुई। हमने सबने वो दहशत को अनुभव किया। हम सब एकजुट हुए। हमने पूरी तरीके से समर्थन प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी को दी कि अब जाइए, और ऐसा एक माहौल बन चुका था कि देश किसी भी कीमत चुकाने के लिए तैयार था। पूरा देश प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी के साथ था, विपक्ष प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी के साथ था। और अचानक 10 मई के दिन पे हमारे राष्ट्रदूत कहते हैं कि हम पाकिस्तान पर हमला करेंगे, और शाम के 10 मई को सूचना आती है कि पाकिस्तान के साथ अब युद्ध पर हम परिणाम दे रहे हैं। सीज फायर हो गया। क्यों हुआ? हम आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी से जानना चाहते थे, अगर पाकिस्तान वाकई में अपने घुटने टिकने के लिए तैयार था तो आपने क्यों रुका? आप क्यों रुके? और किसके सामने आप झुके? किसके सामने आपने सरेंडर किया? किसके सामने आपने सरेंडर किया? ये अब भी कह रहे हैं कि ऑपरेशन सिंदूर कंप्लीट नहीं हुआ, अधूरा है, क्योंकि कल को जाके दोबारा पाकिस्तान कर सकता है। ये खुद कह रहे हैं। ये खुद कह रहे हैं। ये खुद कह रहे हैं कि इसके पश्चात भी पाकिस्तान कल को जाके कर सकता है। तो ये कैसा, ये जो सफल कैसे हुआ? फिर क्या सफल हुआ? आज ये खुद कह रहे हैं कि हमारा मकसद युद्ध का नहीं था। हम पूछना चाहते क्यों नहीं था? होना चाहिए था। आज उन्होंने खुद कहा कि हमारा मकसद जमीन लेने का नहीं था। क्यों नहीं था? पाकिस्तान ऑक्यूपाइड कश्मीर अगर आज नहीं लेंगे तो कब लेंगे?
Why once you have not posted in the ex-handle post? No, you are incorrect, Mr. President, American President. What you have said, you are incorrect. You could not said, you could not show your courage to that extent. The moment you stand in front of the American president, your height is reduced to 5 foot and your chest is reduced to 36 inch from 56 inch. Why you are so much afraid?
All right, there you have it. The opposition asking some tough questions. Let me bring in the political experts here to unpack the opposition's concerns. Savio, if you're with us. Coming to you, all right, Savio, we had to get his connection back. Nikhil, your take on the secrecy around Operation Sindoor, the opposition itself raising several questions, asking why was this, why was this secrecy needed? Why were we not in the loop? Do you believe this secrecy was really justified? Or was this debate necessary and has happened too late? The opposition has been demanding for a special session of the parliament, never happened. Either way, it's been scheduled for the monsoon session as was expected.
So, Nabila, first of all, I want to respond to a point that was made earlier about Mr. Chidambaram's statement. Let me tell you that that statement was widely misreported in the media. It was a 39-minute interview with the Queen 2 days ago. A single sentence has been picked up as if to say that Mr. Chidambaram, the former Home Minister, is giving some sort of a clean chit to Pakistan. That is absolutely what he is not saying. He said that why has the NIA not investigated and found out if these individuals concerned, involved in the attack, the terrorists, were they homegrown in the sense that was Pakistan and ISI cultivating these individuals from Indian soil, or were they cross-border terrorists? And that is necessary in order to understand what should be our strategy moving forward. How can Pakistan, ISI, and other actors be radicalizing our own youth against our own country? That was the statement. Secondly, on the defense minister's statement and the question that you raised, that why is so much secrecy around Operation Sindoor, and that is a concern of the opposition. Frankly, I believe that the concern of the opposition is slightly different. I think it is a concern over the lack of accountability and the lack of courage that is shown on the part of the government. To place it in a simple example, I'll put it in context. The statement given by the defense minister on the floor of the House today. He says that the opposition is asking us for losses. Have they ever asked the losses that were incurred to the other side? In saying all of that, he did not ever admit or deny that there were any losses. We all know there were, because the CDS Anil Chauhan has come out and said that clearly. DGMO gave a similar statement. Deputy Chief of the Army gave a similar statement. And all these men and women in uniform understand one thing, that in combat, losses are a part of the game. You have to bear them. It is all right. It does not put a country or a force down if you admit that there are losses. The reason that you need to look at the losses is so as to understand what went wrong in your strategy and how to rectify it and do a better job the next time, which is exactly what our forces did, as per CDS Anil Chauhan. That, and also corroborating with what Captain Shiv Kumar, who is the defense attaché in the Indian embassy at Indonesia, said, that on the first day of the Operation Sindoor, or during the initial part, there were political compulsions where the political leaders had told them not to attack any army air forces or army air force bases or air defense systems of the Pakistani army while our jets were crossing into the territory of Pakistan. That was a mistake they realized, which is why they started hitting military targets as well. This is why we need to know the numbers. And what is the problem? In 1971,
you're saying what's the problem? You're bound to know. But Mr. Datta, how common or uncommon is it for the military or the government to share active military operations, ceasefire details as and when it happens?
Nabila, when military operation is going on against the enemy, we will not like to let the enemy know whether what we have done, how we're going to do it, whether we suffered any losses or not. That has got a severe implication as far as the morale of the troops is concerned, or the enemy getting input which he can't otherwise get, and he's sending his own people to probe the government. Batao kitne marege. Bullshit. During a war, we never let the enemy know our losses. Yeah, once the operation is over, when it is analyzed deliberately, then yes, a report will come out by the government that what was the overall planning, what happened, did we suffer anything, and what did we achieve finally. As far as we are concerned, we achieved our goals. We hit the enemy where it was required to be hit. We punished him severely. We hit his 9 terrorist target. We almost destroyed his 11 airfields and made them inoperable. Now, whether we lost 1 aircraft, 2 aircraft, we didn't lose anything, it is immaterial. Why should I tell the enemy what I've lost? Let him keep guessing. Yeah, I should say how much I have achieved. What is my success in the battle? How many aircraft I shot down? How many Pakistani missiles were gunned down? How many systems of the anti-air systems were destroyed by us? How many Chinese drones were destroyed? Turkish drones were destroyed. I don't have to tell him what did I lose. No, not now. We'll tell them. We'll take out a white paper when the time comes. It is never done. Ask the Israelis. Do the Israeli parliament, the opposition ask what are the losses?
But Mr. Datta, at the same time, there has been no confirmation from the government army or the army about the kind of losses we've had. If there were any fighter jets that were gunned down.
How many losses did we have during Kargil? We lost almost more than 500 soldiers, officers, Jesus and men. Everybody knows, but we pushed the Pakistanis out of Kargil and they suffered more than us. So now the thing is that when you go into combat...
But shouldn't it be listed out here for the nation to know what it is?
No, not now. Later.
Okay.
This is not the time. Why should I let the Pakis know what happened to us? No way. Let them keep guessing. We never tell the enemy what's happening.
Why do you give away any information to your enemies? I mean, the opposition can wait. The enemies need not know what you have and what you don't, because it's officially Operation Sindoor is still on. If you really look at the government's narrative and the army, they've said Operation Sindoor is not over. It's on standby because you can't trust the enemy nation yet.
No opposition or
Right?
anybody in the
So,
parliament should ask
what's
for
the hurry here?
any losses about our own country. Never. It
Right.
should not become a take
What's
for
the hurry
Pakistani
here?
media.
And what's your
Never.
view? What's your view on Operation Mahadev? If we can show the images of Operation Mahadev yet again, this was really satisfying. What we saw. I know this may sound
yes, Nabila,
voyeuristic, but from what I see on my screens here, this is what India.
Yeah.
This is how India has avenged Pahalgam terror strikes. Nikhil, Operation Mahadev on the day you're discussing Operation Sindoor.
First of all, Nabila, let me answer the question that you raised, and another important point for your viewers to know. In today's era of satellite surveillance, it is everybody in the world, every major power in the world knows which country loses how many aircrafts. It is not a secret. And of course, if we have lost jets, which our army has actually admitted to, nobody knows the numbers. The numbers have not been confirmed, but we have lost 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, whatever the number is. We have lost a certain number of fighter jets. Now, if we had a conflict with Pakistan, Pakistan obviously knows how many aircrafts have been, how many Indian aircrafts have been down. So it's not like we'll be giving any edge to the enemy. The enemy knows. Enemy is the one who caused the losses, right? So far as US, UK, and other of these major powers and China and these major powers of the world are concerned, all of them know how many jets were actually down of India and of Pakistan. So that's not something giving away an edge. So far as numbers being disclosed is concerned, numbers were disclosed of the men that were lost, of the equipment that was lost after the 1971 war under a Congress government and a 1999 Kargil war after a BJP government. Mind you, both these wars were against Pakistan. Both these wars were military successes, as is Operation Sindoor. So far as the government saying that the Operation Sindoor is still carrying on, I'm sorry, but that is absolutely ridiculous. That is where the government is putting narrative over national security. When you have a limited military conflict with a limited objective, which limited objective has been met. Now, these are government's own words. These are not my words. When the objectives have been met, when the hostilities are not continuing, and neither from us, neither from the Pakistani side, how do you say the operation is going on? You ask the BJP spokespersons or the ministers what has happened to Operation Sindoor.
Today what we saw in the parliament, some parliament shots, please. Can we have some parliament shots? The opposition hardly allowed the government to speak. You know, you should allow some breathing space. You should allow the government to speak. But that, you know, that the cacophony really drowns the actual messaging.
I really hope that our parliamentarians did a better job at what they did, both from the treasury benches and the opposition benches, and actually discussed the issues that mattered to the people of the country. Problem is, what I'm seeing from the treasury benches right now, and also a response from the opposition likewise, that you are not taking responsibility. The parliament's primary job in a Westminster system is to hold the government to account, is for the government to answer the difficult questions. Instead of answering the difficult questions, what the government is doing right now is saying, oh, why are you asking these questions? Why are you asking how many losses we suffered? Why don't you ask us how much losses we gave to Pakistan? For that, we have a PR department. We don't need the parliament for that. We need the parliament to ask the government what went wrong. Why did you tie our forces' hand? Why did you tell our air force to cross the international border, get into another sovereign country's territory, attack, but not attack their air defense systems? That is what caused the losses. That is what needs to be rectified. That is what was rectified. These are the questions that needed to be raised in the parliament. But instead of that, what the government wanted was an absolute show of psychopathy. And on Operation Mahadev, fabulous job our forces have done. I'm sure the many men and women must have put a lot of hard work. They put their lives on the line, and they killed these militants and terrorists. Perfect. But the important question that now arises, and that's for the government and not for the forces to answer, that only one of the 3 terrorists who were gunned down is associated with Operation Sindoor. What about the other terrorists? And the diversity of it all
more discussions.
Today we don't even know how many
even
terrorists.
One terrorist gunned down associated with.
One was gunned down.
That's also a big deal. If that one man is a mastermind, and that man, Musa, happens to be a commander himself, he's well equipped.
Victory for the forces, not denying that. Victory for the forces, not denying that. But what about the other perpetrators? And it is unfortunate.
So give credit where it's due. Give credit where it's due. You give credit where it's due.
To the forces. I'm giving credit to the forces. I'm not going to give any credit to the government, because this government's follies are the reason why the Pahalgam terror attack happened in the first place.
How would you view the timing of Operation Mahadev? How would you really view the timing of Operation Mahadev on the day you have discussed Operation Sindoor?
I don't want to make any comments on that. Your viewers are free to draw their own conclusions. I am not going to make a comment on that. What I'm more concerned about is the fact that one of the 3 or 4 or 5 terrorists has been gunned down after 4 months. What about the others?
Okay.
And why did the attack happen in the first place? Why are we only talking about Operation Sindoor and not about the Pahalgam terror attack? Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir, Manoj Sinha, who handles the security setup there, has admitted that there have been lapses. But when did he admit that? 2 days before the parliament session started, so that people don't ask questions of the Home Minister or the Prime Minister. And if he admits that something so dastardly and so incompetent happened under his watch, why has he not resigned? Have any heads rolled? I remember a few weeks ago, there was a stampede in Bangalore. Very unfortunate, a failure of the administration.
For the moment, if I could cut you short,
asking for the CM's
you have many opposition leaders who are speaking, including Asauddin Owaisi. And I really appreciate both of you joining us. I do want to definitely dip into the parliament proceedings. It's happening even as I speak at 9:36. Let's hear it.
अच्छा, हमारे देश में एक ऐसी तंजीम है जिसका वजूद नफरत की बुनियाद पर और मजहबी अज़बियत को फैलाने के लिए बनाया गया। उनको तकलीफ है सेकुलरिज्म से, सोशलिज्म से, मगर हमारे संविधान के प्रियम्बल में लफ्ज सॉवरेन है। सॉवरेन का मतलब यह है कि हम खुद मुख्तार हैं, हम हाकिम आला हैं, हम अपने मुल्क के मुकद्दर का फैसला करेंगे। एक गोरा व्हाइट हाउस में बैठकर भारत की सीज फायर का ऐलान करेगा? यह आपका नेशनलिज्म है। अफसोस होता है मुझे सर। मैडम मैं आपसे पूछना चाह रहा हूं कि अगर एक चचा सैम ऐलान कर रहे हैं तो हमारी फौज पर क्या असर पड़ा होगा? हमारे उन पायलटों पर क्या असर पड़ेगा जो नहीं मालूम कितनी ऊपर आसमानों पर भारत की हिफाजत कर रहे हैं? वो नेवी का सिपाही जो समंदर में खड़ा हुआ है, उसको यह नहीं मालूम हो रहा है कि मेरा प्रधानमंत्री ऐलान नहीं किया, एक गोरे ने ऐलान किया। बड़ा ये आपके कैसा होगा ये? मैडम मेरा सवाल हुकूमत से यह भी है कि हम कोई एडवर्सेरियल कंट्री नहीं है अमेरिका के लिए, हम दोस्त हैं, स्ट्रेटेजिक रिलेशनशिप है। क्या क्या एग्रीमेंट हमने साइन नहीं किया, तो क्या ये दोस्ती निभा रहे हैं? मैडम मैं हिस्टोरिकल एग्जांपल दे रहा हूं, क्रुश्चेव और टीटो। क्रुश्चेव ने दबाव डाला, टीटो ने कहा मैं नहीं मानता, मैं नैम ज्वाइन करूंगा। मैडम फ्रांस और यूएसए, डिगोल को जब यूएसए ने दबाव डाला तो डिगोल ने कहा कि तुम दोस्त हो मगर हमारी खारिजा पॉलिसी आजाद ना है। मैडम वहीं पर आप देखिए गुजराल साहब, जिसको कहते सबसे कमजोर थे, वजीर आजम थे, उन्होंने बहादुरी का मजारा है रिफूलिंग करने नहीं दिया। वियतनाम 20 साल यूएसए लड़ा मगर झुका नहीं, और हम उनको बोल भी नहीं पा रहे। हम तो कोई दुश्मन मुल्क तो नहीं है अमेरिका के, ये आपको समझने की जरूरत है। और मैडम यहां पर वजीर खारजा ने कहा वो चीन गए, डिप्टी चीफ ऑफ स्टाफ ने कहा कि चीन के इक्विपमेंट एक लाइव लैब था हमारे उनके लिए। क्या आपने कहा चीन को कि तुमने क्यों दिया पाकिस्तान को हथियार? आप नहीं कहे। और मैडम आप जानते हैं कि रक्षा मंत्री ने कहा कि स्विफ्ट एंड प्रोपोर्शनेट, तो फिर जो इंडोनेशिया मिलिट्री अटैचे ने कहा कि हमको कहा गया मत मारो, हम सेल्फ डिफेंस में भी नहीं मार सकते थे पाकिस्तान को। और अगर आप ट्रंप के बयान को गलत कह रहे हैं कि 5 एयरक्राफ्ट नहीं गिरे, मैं यकीन करता हूं आपकी बात का। आप हमारे पायलट्स को कमेंट करिए ना, हमारे पायलट्स को कमेंट करिए कि हम अपने पायलट्स की तारीफ करते हैं, आप वो भी नहीं करना चाहते। मैं हुकूमत से जानना चाहता हूं मैडम कि क्या फ्रांस ने हमको सोर्स कोड नहीं दिया जिसकी वजह से हमारे एयरक्राफ्ट को क्या नुकसान हुआ? अब मुस्तकबिल में आप हथियार खरीदेंगे तो क्या आप सोर्स कोड हासिल करेंगे?
No, I'm not. Giving his take in the parliament as the heated session on Operation Sindoor continues. On that note, I'm going to slip into a short break. We'll be right back. Do stay with us.
एसोसिएट स्पॉन्सर एंकर टूथपेस्ट, नए जमाने की नई सुरक्षा।
खूबसूरत सी तुम कोई चिंता करो, पीछे भरोसा खड़ा है तुम्हारे, तुम नया कल बनाते रहो।
जब कोई हमारी बाकी चिंताओं को संभाल लेता है तो हम कर पाते हैं खूबसूरत सी कोई चिंता। टाटा कैपिटल में हम आपकी हर फाइनेंशियल चिंता को संभाल लेते हैं ताकि आप करें सिर्फ खूबसूरत चिंताएं।
ये रोशनी का सफर दिलचस्प है, दिलचस्प है।
हम सूरज से सिर्फ बिजली नहीं बनाते हैं, खुशहाली को देश के कोने कोने तक भी पहुंचाते हैं।
ये रोशनी का सफर
अदानी, हम करके दिखाते हैं।
Go condoms?
It's over there.
क्या ये different sizes में आता है?
Actually, sir, size matter नहीं करता.
तो फिर क्या matter करता है?
The hardness
Of the condom.
of what's inside.
For the first time ever, presenting Hard Rock Gel, the hardness gel for men.
अब free हर score condoms के 10 पैक के साथ.
Sir, try berry pulao. Too good. Good, no?
Hey, why are you giving him such looks? Ignore tips and use your own mind before you order. Lots of people give unsolicited stock tips. It can be dangerous. Study the company and the risk associated. Invest only after analyzing.
बदबख्ती की बात यह है कि आपने इकबाल को खो दिया। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया।
माननीय सदस्य श्री के फ्रांसिस जॉर्ज जी।
Madam Chairperson, I rise today not to indulge in any blame game, but to raise questions that this Republic must not shy away from. Madam, the gruesome attack in Pahalgam on 22nd April 2025.
All right, that was a glimpse of the parliament that we showed you on Operation Sindoor. Let me cut across now to the top stories from West Bengal. In a striking show of defiance and cultural pride, West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee today launched what she's called India's second language movement from the streets of Bolpur, Rabindranath Tagore's Santiniketan. Mamata Banerjee led a 3-kilometer protest march holding up a portrait of Tagore, surrounded by protests, songs and conch shells that was being sounded, and crowds in traditional Bengali attire. And we saw draped in Visva Bharati Uttriya, Mamata Banerjee declaring Bengali identity is under attack and that it is a fight to preserve it. That's what Mamata has said. Let's listen in to her comment.
ভাষার উপর সন্ত্রাস, বাংলা ভাষার উপর সন্ত্রাস মানছি না, মানব না। ভাষা আন্দোলন শুরু হলো ভাষা আন্দোলন। মনে থাকবে 27 জুলাই থেকে ভাষা আন্দোলন শুরু হবে।
Right, Mamata Banerjee says there's growing harassment and discrimination against Bengali-speaking migrants in the states like Gujarat, Maharashtra, Odisha, Rajasthan and Haryana. Mamata Banerjee calls it an attempt to erase Bengali culture from India's collective conscience, warning that Bengal will resist culturally, politically and peacefully. She even evoked the spirit of 1952 when students were martyred in Dhaka for demanding Bengali be recognized in then East Pakistan. That struggle inspired the UN to mark February 21st as International Mother Language Day. Now, Mamata Banerjee's movement taps into the same emotion, but for modern India, not for recognition, but for protection. Critiques, especially the BJP, calling this pure theatrics. Suvendu Adhikari, opposition leader of the BJP there, saying Mamata Banerjee is manufacturing outrage ahead of elections deliberately.
उनकी जो ड्रामा चल रही है SIR रोकने के लिए, ममता बनर्जी रोहिंगा का खाला है और बांग्लादेशी मुसलमान घुसपैठिया का प्रोटेक्टर है। उनकी जी जनाधार है, वोट बैंक का एक बड़ा हिस्सा ये बांग्लादेशी मुसलमान घुसपैठिया और रोहिंगा है। ये SIR रोकने के लिए सब कार्रवाई कर रहा है।
You see, the Trinamool isn't backing down. More marches are planned. Mamata Banerjee's message is, of course, clear that she wants to protect Bengal's language, literature, legacy at all costs. Now, while the cultural movement aside, Mamata Banerjee has accused the BJP and the Election Commission of trying to implement the NRC through backdoor, targeting Bengali-speaking migrants and striking off genuine voters from Bengal's electoral rolls. She's referred to Bihar's special electoral revision as a red flag and vowed that she won't let a single name be struck off Bengal's list under the guise of voter cleanup. So from language pride to voter protection, Mamata Banerjee there claiming this full-blown identity battle ahead of West Bengal assembly elections round the corner. Right now, from Kerala, 2 women, members of the Sister of Mary Immaculate of Assisi, nurses, were taken into custody at the Durg railway station while waiting to receive 3 women coming to work at a local convent. These are the 2 nuns from Kerala who have been taken into arrest. Claims are that they were trying to convert people and human trafficking allegations attached to them. And all of this, the cops basically acted on a complaint filed by the Bajrang Dal. The arrest happened in Chhattisgarh's Durg railway station. The arrest was made under suspicion of human trafficking, religious conversion. In response, Kerala's Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan has written to Union Home Minister Amit Shah requesting intervention immediately and highlighting harassment by the Bajrang Dal activists and the police in Jhansi. The arrest was led to protests across in Kerala and in Delhi. MPs across political lines have come together demanding the immediate release of the 2 nuns. Those were images in the parliament today as well. Congress MP K.C. Venugopal, in a letter to Chhattisgarh Chief Minister and the Home Minister, has accused the local authorities of rushing to judgment by arresting these women without actually having facts in their hand. The Catholic Bishop Conference of India has called this arrest itself as outrageous and part of a disturbing pattern, and saying that this is nothing but harassment and targeting of Christian women. They added that all the women in question were adults, basically whoever the women that these 2 nuns had gone to receive there at the railway station. They say that those women were adults above 18 with their consent, were working with the missionaries there. Now, the BJP's S. Suresh has spoken, saying that these nuns will get enough protection. They've also written to the authorities there in Chhattisgarh asking for protection of these nuns, and the BJP says if these nuns are innocent, they're not into religious conversion, then they have nothing to worry, they'll be back home safe. Strong words coming in from Rahul Gandhi, Congress MP, following this case, has accused the BJP and the RSS of orchestrating mob rule in the country against minorities and criticizing the government for systematic persecution of minorities. Now, was this truly a case of law enforcement overreach? If there was no forceful conversion here, then who takes responsibility for the trauma and humiliation that these nuns had to endure? All right, now actor turned politician Ramya has had enough after days of being bombarded with rape and death threats online, allegedly by fans of actor Darshan. Ramya has decided to file a formal complaint in Bengaluru. Ramya, who has been vocal about the need for justice in the ongoing murder case on Renukwa Swamy involving actor Darshan, she says that she is being targeted for simply sharing a Supreme Court judgment on social media regarding Darshan. Let me take you through what Rania said.
As a celebrity, I'm used to trolling. Adu idde irutte, but ee mattakke nanu yavattu experience madirilla. So hagagi nanage annistu ee Renukwa Swamigunu matte iವರು ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೂ ಏನು ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. And so ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲೂ ನನಗೆ ಈ ತರ ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯ ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳಿಗೆ ಯಾವ ತರ ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರಬಹುದು. ನಮ್ಮ ಸಮಾಜ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೀಳ್ ಮಟ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಅಂತ ನನಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಬೇಸರ ಆಯ್ತು.
Well, actor Darshan, who was shooting in Thailand, has finally come back, and Darshan seems to have got approval from the court itself to go for his shoot twice over and return. Those were images from just a day ago where Darshan arrives into Bengaluru after his elaborate shoot of a film Devil. He and his partner Pavitra Gowda have been accused in Renukwa Swamy's murder case, and 11 others who've been arrested are all now out on bail. The Supreme Court is hearing the matter on how easily Darshan could get bail. A quick look at the surrogacy racket that's unraveled in Telangana. Here's a cautionary tale that you cannot ignore. A fertility clinic in Hyderabad promised parenthood but ran a sinister baby-selling racket instead. At the heart of it is Universal Shrishti Fraternity Clinic. now exposed for trafficking babies under the guise of IVF and surrogacy. The scam, in fact, blew open when a couple from Rajasthan who paid 35 lakhs discovered via DNA test that the newborn that they were handed were not biologically theirs. They were shown a forged birth certificate and told the baby was delivered via C-section to a surrogate. But when they actually noticed that the child was looking very different, not like them, they grew suspicious. They did an independent DNA test in Delhi and confirmed that the baby was unrelated to them. When they confronted the clinic started threatening them, and that's when this raid happened. The clinic's founder, Dr. Namrata, her son Jayant Krishna, and the multiple other officials from the hospital itself are all now arrested for this. In fact, the parents of that baby gave away the baby for 90,000 rupees, and they are located in Assam. So they're also arrested along with the entire hospital staff. All right, now a disastrous story coming in from Maharashtra. Actual rollout for women of Maharashtra has turned into a scam almost. Massive fraud under Maharashtra's Ladki Behan Yojana. Over 14,000 men have illegally availed benefits meant for poor women. The scheme, launched ahead of the 2024 assembly elections, had promised 1,500 monthly to women aged 21 to 65. But 10 months into this, some glaring loopholes. Deputy CM Ajit Pawar himself has now admitted that a whopping 21.4 crores was wrongly distributed to nearly 14,000 men in Maharashtra who posed as women online. He's vowed to recover the funds and warned of strict action, but the money is gone. It's yours. It's taxpayers' money, yours and mine. Of course, we're not in the state of Maharashtra right now, but people who are in Maharashtra, then you should know this is your money that's been misplaced. It doesn't end there. An audit of the Women and Child Development Department shows that 1,640 crore lost dues in this entire process, in this scheme. So apart from that, 8 lakh women from families that have more than 2 beneficiaries have claimed this benefit. 2.8 lakh women above the age of 65. The deadline is only 60, the age bar is only 65, but those above age of 65 have also got the benefit. 1.62 lakh recipients from car-owning households, basically elite households, have also got this benefit. So it seems like the government rolled out this scheme with good intention, but clear mismanagement. NCP MP Supriya Sule demanding a probe into this, questioning who approved these fake applications in the first place. If it was happening digital, how is it so easy for it to be manipulated? Of course, the blame now falling on the Maharashtra government, because it's clear Sarkari mismanagement that the government of Maharashtra has to own up to. Now, quick look at how accurate is your Google map. Can you really rely on your Google map without question? A woman in Navi Mumbai found out the hard way. She followed Google. In fact, a woman in Mumbai followed Google Maps to get to where she was. A simple drive from Belapur to Ulve ended in a plunge into a water-filled ditch. Blindly trusting the app's directions, she was rerouted under the Bay Bridge instead of over it. And she didn't see that the road was submerged and literally fell into that gorge. She drove straight into that ditch. Thankfully, marine security officials nearby acted fast, pulling her out right in time. The car had to be literally hauled out with a crane. But this isn't the first time Google Maps has misled. It could have easily turned fatal. Last year in Uttar Pradesh, in Badaun, 3 people died after their car, guided by Google Maps, drove into a broken bridge right into a river after that. In another case, tourists from Hyderabad were sent straight into a swollen stream in Kerala. They barely escaped alive. Now, these aren't navigation errors alone, they're deadly lapses. We're wondering if Google will actually pay off for these lapses. All right, India's largest IT services company, Tata Consultancy Services, TCS, is all set to lay off around 12,000 employees globally in one of the biggest workforce cuts in its history. The company is making it clear that this is not an AI-triggered purge. As per reports, CEO Kriti Vasan has said layoffs are not due to artificial intelligence-driven productivity gains, but rather a result of skill mismatch and structural changes in how the company delivers services. The cuts to be carried out gradually over the next year will primarily affect mid to senior level employees, especially those unable to transition into TCS's evolving agile product-centric model as per the company. Now, the CEO admits that some senior professionals struggle to adapt to increasingly tech-heavy roles despite large-scale upskilling efforts. TCS says it has trained over 5.5 lakh employees in basic AI and over 1 lakh in advanced AI, but reskilling has not basically always guaranteed redeployment. Therefore, many of them are all set to go. Calling the move unprecedented, the CEO promises to handle the layoff compassionately, and severance packages, health benefits, mental health support, all of that will be given adequately. All right, that's it for me right here. Thanks very much for watching. We'll be right here, same time, same place tomorrow. Have a great night.
एसोसिएट स्पॉन्सर डायना प्रीमियम ब्यूटी सोप, पहली झलक करे खूबसूरत।
भाई ऑन रोड या ऑफ रोड?
रोड ट्रिप पे किस बाइक की सवारी होगी, ये खूबसूरत चिंता आप करिए। 2 व्हीलर लोन की चिंता हम संभाल लेंगे विद स्पॉट अप्रूवल एंड लोन अप टू 95%।
ये रोशनी का सफर दिलचस्प है, दिलचस्प है।
हम सूरज से सिर्फ बिजली नहीं बनाते हैं, खुशहाली को देश के कोने कोने तक भी पहुंचाते हैं।
ये रोशनी का सफर
अदानी हम करके दिखाते हैं।
फिर ये डुगडुगी गई कहाँ? पापा के साथ साथ सारे सपने भी चले गए, पर अपने बच्चों के सपनों के साथ ऐसा कुछ नहीं होने देगा। वो कैसे? पहले से लाइफ इंश्योरेंस का टर्म प्लान ले रखा है। बड़े भैया,
सपनों को रखो सुरक्षित टर्म प्लान के साथ, सबसे पहले लाइफ इंश्योरेंस।
What is to the nines? In literal terms, it's perfection. But to us, it's not just a phrase, it's an attitude. One that starts at your desk and sends a statement to the world. To the nines is about taking charge. It's a way of life where every scene, every fold, is crafted with excellence. It's timeless elegance and uncompromising quality made for the corner office. It's the ideas that inspire redefining order and elevating the tabletop. To the nines, for the leaders of today and the visionaries of tomorrow.
A deep dive into what matters to you the most. Angles you won't find anywhere else. News that impacts your life.
Light, camera, and action. Kick back, relax, grab your favorite snack because News 9 is here with your weekend dose of entertainment. It's time to take a deeper dive into the buzzworthy happenings of the entertainment world. From celebrity gossips to exclusive conversations, from nostalgic moments to News 9's pick of the week, don't worry, we've got you covered here. And I hope you've grabbed your popcorn by now because News 9's page 3 is here to serve you everything that we call entertainment. So do stay tuned every Saturday and Sunday, 2:30 p.m.
A small window of hope has opened for Nimisha Priya. You know, human beings live by hope. Is Vijay challenging Dravidian party? Payments have been made, but no books inside. If there is corruption at the BO office, maybe I want to learn Hindi, that I do not know how to speak Kannada. Go to the